Good evening. It is Tuesday, June 7th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show. Post live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this week. My name is Big Reg. I got three of my partners in crime with me. What's going on, J3? How you feeling this evening, partner?
What's up, Big Reg? Ed, Sense, feeling good. What's happening?
J3.
What's up,
Good,
J3?
good.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get a little sense in the building this evening. What's going on, partner? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, feeling great. What's going on, fellas? Y'all ready to talk some sports?
Yeah.
What's up, Sense?
Absolutely. And last but obviously not least, my brother Ed. What's going on, partner?
What's up, gentlemen? Got a lot of interesting things going on in sports right now. But yeah, let's talk about them.
All right, let's hit it. We're gonna give you some quick
Left
hits.
hand game.
Then we got to do the boxing news, NFL news. It's supposed to be a little quiet time, but we got some NFL news jumping off, and of course, we got to talk about the NBA Finals. And we're going to give you our final post of the evening. So as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. Fellas, I know y'all probably don't follow it, and I'm sure a bunch of our listeners don't follow, but when you're in the midst of greatness, you got to shout it out. Shout out to the Oklahoma Sooner women's softball team. These ladies just reached their third straight Women's Championship World Series Softball National Championship Series. 3 years in a row, with their take on the University of Texas Longhorns starting Wednesday. Now, the championship series is the best 2 out of 3. But let me tell you a little bit about these ladies Sooners real quick. Their record for this season is 60-3.
Wow.
They've only lost 3 games all season. Their 3 losses, the first loss all season was to these Texas Longhorns. So the Longhorns got them early during the regular season, so both of them in Big 12. Then they accidentally messed up in the Big 12 championship game and lost to their arch rival, Oklahoma State. So that was their second loss. Now, the College World Series is kind of a round robin kind of situation where it's it takes 2 to eliminate you. So they went throughout the regular season through their division postseason, get to the College World Series. They get their third loss yesterday. First time in the World Series. They lose to the UCLA Bruins 6-3, thanks to Miss Brady, who hit 2 home runs for UCLA. And if the last name sounds familiar, it's Tom's niece.
Wow.
Who's a sophomore, soon to be All-American softball player. So they're doing their thing. So what did Oklahoma do? Did let them know who was running things. They came back in game 2. They had a half hour in between. Beat UCLA 15-0.
Revenge. The big payback.
Wow.
And they mercy ruled them.
What?
They did that in 5 innings.
Jeez.
That's like video game rules.
That's
Wow.
like
21-0 skunk.
That's like T-ball,
Yeah.
where you get the mercy rule.
And to tell you how crazy the mercy rule was, I told you they won 60 games this season. 40 of them have been by the mercy rule.
Wow.
What are they doing out in Norman?
They know how
What's
to hit
going on
out
out
there.
there? Lord.
What are they doing? Yeah.
They got 4 All-Americans at the top of their order, led by their captain, Jocelyn Alo, who is of Samoan descent from Hawaii. She is the softball leader in home runs. This young lady's hit 120 home runs in her college career, more than anybody else. The only person ever to have 3 seasons of 30 or more plus home runs. I mean, it's just a juggernaut. So if you get a chance this Wednesday and Thursday are going to be the first 2 games. If they need it, they'll have a game 3 on Friday. Check it out, because I got to shout out Texas. Texas beat Oklahoma State, which was the number 2 ranked team. Texas was unranked coming into these championship World Series. and got it first team in a long time to make it unranked to the finals. So shout out to Texas too, but Oklahoma is a beast, and we gotta give props when good work is being done.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about this PGA Tour stuff, man.
Oh, yes.
It is getting crazy. A few months ago, people probably remember hearing about this Saudi-backed LIV tour, and it was kind of like, oh, it's just a joke. We ain't worried about it. And then we all know Phil Mickelson got in major trouble, stepped away from the tour for a few months, hasn't played on the PGA Tour since that. Well, the LIV's first tournament is this week, starts Thursday. It's in London. They have 15 of the top 100 players ranked in the PGA Tour that are going to play in this tournament. Some of them are multi-major winners, including Phil Mickelson. That's former number one in the world, Dustin Johnson. And people say, why are these guys doing this? Why are they going against a tour that's made all them millionaires and made them a bunch of money? Dustin Johnson got $125 million from the Saudis just to join the tour.
Wow.
My answer to that was just going to be more money.
Absolutely.
Phil Mickelson reportedly got 200 plus to join the tour and help them develop the bylaws.
Wow. Yeah.
You're talking about endless amount of money.
I was about to say that's guaranteed.
That's coming from Saudi Arabia. The purses, they're only going to be 48 player tournaments, invitation only. Winner gets $5 million, which is like the highest purse that Pro PGA offers. The loser, the 48th guy, gets $120,000. So just showing up, you're gonna make $120,000.
And that's
up to $5 million.
Isn't that something?
So I've been fascinated. This is the story of the week for me. I've been doing research and I've just been reading about all this stuff how this has all come about, and it's actually been a couple years in the making. And pretty much every PGA Tour player that we know and some of the ones that we not so popular have been approached by this tour. But in a nutshell, like you mentioned, Big Reg, it does come down to money. One of the writers that when I was doing this research pointed this out is the PGA Tour is a obviously lucrative tour for like various charitable organizations because that's one of their tenets and bylaws. They've made a lot of players money, but the difference is in order to get money in the PGA Tour on the course, you have to win. If you don't win, then your earnings are limited. Give you an example. Tiger Woods' career PGA Tour winnings, I'm not talking about outside off the course, but on the course is roughly 120 million. For a transcendent Ali type, Jordan type player. So this is what Tiger has won in his career. By contrast, over the next 2 years, Steph Curry is going to get something like 108 million on the court. There's fringe NBA players that are going to get 120 million over the next 2 or 3 years. So basically, it comes down to money. And this format they're trying to establish and come up with, basically is going to be able to compensate these players according to what they're worth. Because a lot of golfers, even including some Tiger Woods, honestly believes that some changes need to happen. Now, Tiger, according to the reports, the things that I've read, is comfortable with his legacy and he doesn't need the money. He's obviously made upwards of $1 billion plus off the court. So he's not he doesn't need it. And it's more about legacy. But a lot of these cats out there are like, hey, legacy be damned. I want to be paid what I'm
I
worth.
want to be paid. Yeah.
And so that's what this tour is all about. That's
Kids can't eat no
I mean, we
legacy.
could talk about this rule, that rule, and whatever, but it comes down to, you know, everyone has a figure and a number of what they feel they're worth, and quite frankly, they're saying that they're not being compensated according to their worth, and it's basically a pay for play thing on the PGA. So that's what I
Yeah,
got.
I was just gonna say, to put it in 2 words, money talks.
Yeah. I mean, you take Dustin Johnson, again, former number one. We're not talking about number one a long time ago. He was like number one like 2 years ago. He's won 3 majors, one of the biggest draws on the tour. He's made on the course like $75 million. Actually, I think that might be total. He got a check for $125 million to walk away from the PGA. And the PGA tried to play hardball and said, you know, if you go pay this competing tour that's going to play on same weekends that we're going to play and going to be having tournaments, because this tour's first season is only going to be, I think, 8 or 9 events. 6 of them are in the United States.
Oh, wow. That's gangster. That's gangster.
Boss move.
That is gangster.
You going to write me a $125 million check. All I got to
get
pay
to
is
play in
8
the
or 9
States?
tournaments.
Right.
And I'm going to make another $1 million even if I finish last in all those tournaments.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
sign me up.
Yes.
Sign me up.
So the PGA said, if you do that, we're going to either fine you or suspend you or maybe scoop. So these golfers are turning in their PGA memberships,
Which
That's what
which is unheard of.
They've had 7 or 8 top 50 golfers say, "Here you go."
Show me the money.
$120 million PGA membership. $120 million.
It's
PGA
crazy.
Show me the money.
And the only thing that could have helped the PGA, and they lost their first battle, the majors are not operated by the PGA. The majors are their own separate entity. So the PGA was hoping that they could use their influence to pressure the majors not to let these guys play. The U.S. Open's next week. The U.S. Open announced today that anybody who qualified through the standard qualifications, no matter which tour they play on, where they play, can play next week. So now these guys are like, if I can play the majors and still make this money, you're gonna have other major players jumping ship. Rumor is that Tiger was offered close to $500 million to come on.
Good Lord.
He okay. What I was saying earlier about he decided right now to stay with the PGA, but he said he's still talking it over, and nothing is in stone right now as we speak. So Tiger can easily say, "Hey, okay," and I think Tiger, and we talked about this. I think Tiger should only play majors anyway, and most of the I think he has a lifetime exemption from. Yeah, Tiger has a lifetime exemption. I think from all 4 majors. I think if you win, the Masters, it gives you it has something to.
The Masters is a lifetime. The British Open, the U.S. Open are like 25 years, whatever, from the last time you qualify. So it's basically lifetime.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. So it's crazy. So
Must be nice.
PGA got some problems because once the majors, if the U.S. Open say okay, you know the Masters is going to say okay. The British, they don't care because it's not hurting their people. So,
but obviously, Big Reg, if they're talking about this now, it obviously has been a problem for several years. It's like we talked about in the college ranks when you talking about this NIL. We all knew that this was a problem for years, but the NCAA was so greedy and wanted to keep all that money to themselves, or at least let them be the deciders of how it's divvied up. And now that the floodgates is open, they don't know what to do. There's no control. It's like the Wild Wild West. Yeah. So now that you have a competing tour, a legitimate competing tour that has sponsorships, that have untold money behind them. Yeah, the PGA Tour, like you said, is in trouble.
Wide open now. It's wide open.
All right, let's switch up to hockey real quick. Shout out to the Colorado Avalanche, man. These boys playing hockey like they might be the Golden State Warriors of NHL hockey. It's fast break, fast pace all the time. defense be damned. Most games they don't get. They swept the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals. When do you see a conference finals that have a team get swept?
Swept. McDavid at that.
Yeah. And Draisaitl, two of the top names in hockey. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they did it fast paced. They won game 1, 8-6. Then they played a little defense in game 2, shut them out 4-0. Game 3, 4-2. And then last night, game 4, they were down 2 goals late in the third period. Oilers let them back in. They tied it up at 5-5, sent it to overtime. 1 minute in overtime. Score! See you. Have a nice summer.
Say night.
So, I don't see, unless Tampa Bay gets there and their goalie gets hot, I don't see anybody stopping this offense. They are scoring 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals regularly. In playoff hockey, you don't see that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, speaking of Tampa Bay, they look like they're in a bit of trouble. I know they play tonight. The Rangers.
Tampa Bay was on their last leg. They lost the first 2 games in New York. The young Rangers, the Rangers are like a year or 2 ahead of schedule. Very young team. Nobody expecting to get there. They took it to Tampa Bay in the first games. Now, some of it may have been that Tampa Bay was off like almost a week and a half. And I think once you get these older teams and they get too much rest, they get a little rusty. They got crushed in game 1. They lost game 1. What was the score? 6-2. Then game 2 was a little closer, 3-2. But the Rangers had them down and out in game 3. The Rangers were up a goal late in the third. Let Tampa get a cheap one in, tied it up, and then Tampa said, okay, you're going to give us that one. We're going to take this next one. Now it's 2-1. Game tonight. If the Rangers want to win this series, they better win tonight because they do not want to go back to the Garden tied 2-2 with the 2-time defending champions ready to let everybody know we still here. So
I still got my money on Tampa Bay. Say what you want. Say what you want.
But you got to give. But no, the Rangers, they're playing on house money though. They weren't even supposed to be here.
Yeah. Low expectations.
Yeah, they are the Atlanta Hawks of last year, where they say they're way ahead of schedule, and maybe more importantly, the Memphis Grizzlies of this year. That you say, wow, it's crazy.
Respect to that, BJ.
Yeah, we hear you.
I hear you, BJ. A lot of people, and they dancing around that actual question because they just had their first press conference, and all of them dancing around that. And a lot of people's like, well, if you talk about every country that has major problems, we wouldn't be able to play golf.
I don't.
I'm gonna leave that one. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm just saying if they tried to spin it and try to, say, blood, whatever, as far as they try to downgrade the country, but nobody that, this, we're not exempt from issues. So
yeah,
I'm not necessarily in a position to be the moral police, so to speak.
Yeah, true. And golfers shouldn't have to be either.
No, they're just playing a sport.
That's it.
They're just playing a sport.
Yeah. Lastly, in our quick hits, we got to give a shout out to Iga Swiatek and the King of Clay, Mr. Rafael Nadal, for winning the French Open.
I was mad Coco lost, but yeah, that was.
She still got some time.
Coco got some time, but the problem is Iga's only 21. Just turned 21 during the French Open. So she's only 3 years older than
And this is her second victory, is it not?
This is her second major. She's won 34 straight matches.
Yes.
This young lady's on fire.
Commanding, too.
Killing people.
Commanding.
So it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, Coco had a phenomenal 2 weeks. She officially graduated from high school at the beginning of the French Open. made it to her first singles Grand Slam finals, also made it to the doubles Grand Slam finals. So she graduated and made over $1 million over a 2-week period and got to spend 2 weeks in Paris.
Can't be
that's a good deal.
That's a good week. That's a good vacation. So, but but the King of Clay, man.
Rafa.
They thought Rafa was done 5 years ago.
I did.
When he was having knee problems. Then 2 years ago when he started having his foot problems that he's constantly dealing with now. But Rafa just won his 14th French Open.
That's ridiculous.
And his 22nd overall Grand Slam. And he beat Djokovic on the way to it during the semis.
That's the cherry on top.
So don't sleep on him.
Yeah, so
don't do it.
I don't know where he's getting it from. He says he's in excruciating pain, and it's hard for him to be able to get through a 2-week tournament.
That will.
Yeah.
It's the will.
Yeah,
he's 36 years old. I mean, that technically that's a young in life, but in sport,
tennis,
man, like you see it all over. Age is just defying like these sports. No one expected LeBron to play at 38 and play it at a high level. Tom Brady, 45.
How'd I know?
Right.
You knew LeBron was gonna come up.
Right.
Hold on. No, I might say it, but y'all ain't touch on the man's major accomplishment of even being an active player. I wanted to get on y'all for that, but I'll save it for post takes for our final post.
We understand. We understand he joined the B club. We understand.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We understand, but yeah, shout out to Nadal. Now he says he's got to see how his foot feels and whether or not he's going to play the Wimbledon, which starts at the end of this month. But I'm sure if he can, he'll show up and try to do that. So it's crazy. All right, man, let's talk about boxing. I told y'all it was going to be a hot week for boxing. And we had 3 virtuoso performances by boxers, which is taking boxing back to where I like it, where skill and technique is ruling the day. We got to first start off by Devin Haney. This young man, 24 years old, flew to Australia, didn't think his father was going to be able to get into the country because of a 30-year-old drug charge, but they finally let him in the day before the fight. He flew to Australia so he could be there for the fight for his son. He goes to Australia, fights in front of 40,000+ people,
50,000 they say they're declaring it as,
and put a performance on Mr. George Kambosos Jr. And he did it with his jab.
I gotta say this. First, with Kambosos, dudes, you are truly the Bama of the week. Because how you gonna start this like fake beef, like calling Haney a rat and all this stuff, like, and getting in this 300, mind mode, Spartan, whatever the heck, and trying to start some fake beef with the dude, and Haney was unfazed. He was like, man, let me just come in, let me box, let me get the
hype it up.
Yeah, try to hype it up.
I'm gonna take an opposite stance on this sense. I have so much respect for Kambosos and so much respect for Haney. These are the type of fights. These are the type of fights that I'll actually sit down and watch. These are the type of fights that should be made, not ducking and dodging. Because as Kambosos said in the post-fight press conference, I didn't have to fight him.
Right.
But I gave him an opportunity because they asked the man, are they going to run it back? Well, contractually, they have to run it back. And not only that, it has to be in Australia. Yeah. And I don't fault him for that. He's just protecting himself. But I give the man credit because he did not duck and dodge, because there was others that he could have fought besides, because he was supposed to fight Lomachenko. Unfortunately, Lomachenko is dealing with a war in his home country. And he did, like I said, he did not have to fight Haney. Now, what now? So that's all I have to say as far as why I respect both fighters, and I do. So I don't know too much about Kambosos, but here was my take on the fight. Big Reg, I need your help. J3, I need you guys' help because I'm not in the sweet science necessarily. I'm not a professor of boxing like you are, Big Reg. But when I was watching this fight, I was like so enamored, and I was like, I know they always say styles make fights, right? So I don't know if Kambosos is that far away from Haney, or it's just that the skill level of Haney is so far beyond what Kambosos is capable of achieving that it just made it look, I'm not going to say easy, because I actually thought Kambosos came to fight. I just don't think that
he was trying to be the aggressor. Like
I don't think, but I think that the box with the skill level I seen from Haney, which I did not know he had.
I try to tell y'all.
I did not know he had. It was just so precision, pinpoint. The jab. He go in, mix it up, come back out, bat on his way out. I just didn't know that he could fight like the way he fought. And I'm not going to be a victim of the here and now or the most recent, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if he can, if Gervonta, I don't know if he can beat Haney. I don't know, because
that's the fight.
The skill level, I know Gervonta has the power, but I haven't seen, at least the fights I've seen from him, I haven't seen the skill level that I seen Haney display the other night. That was impressive. Yeah. That was an impressive fight.
Yeah. You hit it. Haney is an elite masterclass boxer, and we've seen this recently. Mm-hmm. We saw it with Usyk in the heavyweight championship. We saw it when Canelo got beat.
Mm-hmm.
These master boxers are proven that if they got the technique, that they can stay off the ropes and dominate a fight with their jab and their movement, they can get rid of these big hitters. Kambosos is a big hitter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good fighter. He's not a great fighter.
Yeah.
Devin Haney's a great fighter. And Devin Haney came up the hard way. Like I told y'all, instead of doing Olympic boxing, he started pro early and went down to Mexico and was fighting them bars, fighting Mexicans. You know they ain't want to see no black American down there beating their boys up. So, yeah, he wasn't phased. And to prove it, he signed that contract where he got less money, had to fight in Australia, and on top of that, had to give the rematch clause to fight again in Australia. Because he said, I don't care about that. He can't beat me.
I don't see him beating. I can't.
And if he can't beat me the first time, he definitely ain't gonna beat me the second time.
No, I would say Haney's performance was Mayweather-esque. Like how he hits him with, how Mayweather would hit you with the jab, then like play defense in the defense, like not getting hit. Anytime Kambosos tried to come with that hook, like Haney was just like out of dodge. And very Mayweather-esque.
Speaking of Mayweather-esque, Cool Boy Steph, Stephen Fulton, same night, Saturday night on Showtime, easily defended his WBC and WBA junior featherweight champions against former champion Danny Roman. He beat Roman. This is a former title holder of the same division. He beat him 11 out of 12 rounds. Another boxing clinic. It's just like they make these guys look slow, look like they're trying to fight. They're trying to mix it up, but the skill level, they spin them, they slip them. They got defense and offense. It's just beautiful to see.
It is.
So what's the lightweight? What is the lightweight? What's the fight out there that would be beautiful? Because the lightweight, because it's loaded.
There's two fights that are big blockbuster fights. Both of them include Tank Davis. Tank Davis against Ryan Garcia, who brings 5 million Instagram followers with him, who's undefeated, who was at the fight, the Tank fight, talking trash. He fights, I think, the beginning of July, and he says if he wins, once he wins his next fight, he fighting Fortuna, who's a good fighter. He says he wants Tank. He's been trying to get Tank in the ring, he says, for over 2 years. I don't know if he wants that smoke, but that's what he asked him for. That's just because of the magnitude of the fight, that big fight. But the best fight to make is Haney Tank.
Yo, definitely Haney Tank.
Mm-hmm. Are we gonna see it? Is the question.
I think
know.
They're not scared to fight each other.
Haney has already been calling people out for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Haney's dealing with the same problem that Bud's dealing with. He's not hooked up necessarily with one particular group. He uses Top Rank sometimes to co-promote his fight, but Haney's his own promoter. So it's hard to get these big deals done. So we'll see. But yeah, shout out to Philly's own Stephen Fulton. Philly got 2 bad boys, and Fulton and I can't think of the other guy's name, but I'll think of a second. Both masterclass boxers in Floyd Mayweather's image. We're going to slit, outbox you, move, and if you mess around, we knock you out.
Yeah, and real quick, didn't Tank and Haney come from Mayweather's camp initially? Like when they first started out? I know Tank did, but I thought Haney did as well. Like
Haney knows the Mayweathers, but he's never really been in their camp. Haney's father's been his trainer since he started fighting.
Okay.
Then this morning, Inoue, oh my goodness, the little monster, 118-pound champion, took out Nonito Donaire in 2 rounds. Now, this was a rematch of the 2019 Fight of the Year. These two fought 3 years ago. Donaire broke Inoue's orbital bone and his nose, but still lost a split decision because Inoue hit him with a couple of body shots late in the fight that made him drop. They gave him 10-8 rounds, ended up giving him a slight decision.
Crazy.
The second wasn't even close. At the end of the first round, Inoue caught Donaire. He slipped a punch and caught him with a right to the jaw. Dropped him like a bag of donuts.
Say night.
What saved him, it was within like 8 seconds of the round ending. So the bell rang, end of the round. Came out the second round, he finished him off. The little monster is a problem.
Yeah,
118 pounds, knocking people out with body shots and headshots. That little weight, they used to just throw 1,000 punches. Yeah, he knocking people cold
with power. And he's number 2 on the list right now,
pound for pound. And after this fight, he might go up to number 1 because the number 1 guy, Mr. Crawford, hasn't fought in a while. Before we get to Crawford, because I see BJ asked a question, Jamal Charlo, the 15-minute older Charlo brother, hurt his back in training camp, had to postpone his bout that was supposed to happen not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So hopefully he'll be able to get that back on in August. But the big news in boxing this week, multiple outlets are reporting that the Crawford-Spence fight is close.
Yeah, that's what they said.
No, Crawford left Top Rank to get this fight. So he said, I'm eliminating all barriers. You can't say it's this, I'm on this side of the street, you on this side of the street. I can fight anywhere I want to. So he's going to let PBC do the fight. It's going to be a PBC pay-per-view. The only thing they got to work out now is how they're going to split the money. And if Earl Spence really wants this fight, he's going to have to come off his crazy ideas because Earl wanted something like, he's like, I got 3 belts. You only got 1 belt. Right, so I want 80-20.
Yeah, right.
Crawford's like, man, please.
Crawford's still the bigger draw.
You don't want to fight there. So I think Crawford will do a 60-40 split just because. But if they don't get this fight done, and supposedly they shoot for October in Las Vegas, so again, believe it when we see it, but by the end of June, we should have this signed and delivered because there's no reason to stop it. If it doesn't happen, then I got to call out Earl Spence after that.
Well, yeah, like in the room from the rumor mill, I've been hearing it's they're looking for an October date. Is that?
October in Vegas. Supposedly they've already got.
I say we go.
The venue set up.
I say we go. What's up? Let's make it happen.
I'm with it. Real quick question. Yeah, real quick question, Big Reg. Since you're the resident boxing expert, a name I keep hearing from some analysts, Benavidez. What's your take on him?
I've been talking about him on our boxing shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's the best fighter at 168, including Canelo. His whole problem is he had some issues when he was young. That man is undefeated, but lost his belt twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
For stuff outside the ring.
For some ignorant stuff.
So he's ready. He's a problem because he's big, but he can box and he can punch. He's a problem. And he's been calling out Canelo for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And Canelo don't want no parts of him. Canelo said he's not a big enough name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Stephen A. said that. Like, that's the fight he wanted to see was Benavidez and Canelo.
Yeah. I think Canelo, again, when you make $300 million, your perspective changes. And it's hard to be ready to deal with that. And everybody Canelo fights, this is the biggest payday they want, and they want to be the new pay-per-view king. So everything's a Super Bowl for them, and it's just another fight for Canelo. And they're like, hey, it's another 30, 40, 50 million. Yeah, I got 300 million in the bank. Yeah. So
first world problems.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And that's on.
All right, let's jump to this NFL news, fellas. We ain't gonna spend much time on this. I'm tired of talking about it. Your boy Deshaun Watson.
Here we go again.
A 24th case is popped up, and this is a new case. Even Watson's lawyer said they knew nothing about this young lady, but she filed after Watson's lawyer said something very stupid on Friday, and I'm not gonna go into specifics, but it basically involved happy endings.
Wow.
See, here's the thing, but see, this is on Deshaun because it's not his lawyers. It's on Deshaun. Deshaun needs to, and the Cleveland management needs to go to him and say, "Look here, look here, homie. Settle these dang cases so we can move on from this. Mm-hmm. I know you feel that you don't owe him nothing. That's fine, but sometimes you got to pay a little money to just make things disappear. Whether you guilty or not, there's been plenty of people who had to pay a little fee to get out of something that they're not necessarily guilty of. That's just how our legal system runs. I mean, that's just the way it is. But Deshaun needs to just set aside a few mil. He got plenty of them. Set aside a few mil, get these cases out of the way, and move on. Because if not, there's going to be a 25th.
Yeah.
So
the attorney who's handling all these cases says he's got information saying that Deshaun has had over 100 encounters where he's messaged people on Instagram and all that, getting massages. So it could get crazy. They also came out last week. Supposedly, Deshaun offered each one of the original 22 $100,000, and it's like, man, please. So he need to open up his checkbook because this is getting worse and worse. I originally thought the NFL would suspend Deshaun for 8 games or maybe 10 games and then bring it down to 8. With this new stuff coming up and the graphic details about what he was doing on the table when people supposed to be getting the massage and stuff. The NFL can be like, look, dude, we can't have you play until you get this taken care of. So I can see him not playing again this year.
I've maintained that it was going to be a half a year. That's why I wasn't worried. Just now this is outside of his issues, but that's why I wasn't worried about as far as they were predicting Cleveland this and that. And I told you they done took Cleveland off the board in Vegas. You can't even fly to Vegas and put any money on Cleveland right now because They just don't. The wise guys don't even know. So
sad.
Deshaun needs to just, like I said, set aside a few mil.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go have your lawyer take care of that. You ain't got to get involved in that. You just sign off the check. Let him deal. Let his lawyer, his team deal with that. But until he just drops this crazy idea that he's not budging on paying these victims, these alleged victims, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. On a positive note, the Denver Broncos have been on the market. They're going through the process of sales. Monday was supposed to be the deadline for the final offers for everybody to make for the sale of the Broncos and the stadium. And it's been reported that the favorite to win the bid is Walmart, one of the Walmart heirs, Rob Walton, who's worth about $54 billion himself. The Waltons together, the children, the descendants, are worth like 200 and something billion. The family.
Crazy.
Which one of them is married to the owner of the LA Rams?
Who's one of the richest.
The sisters, yeah. So Rob Walton is supposed to be the favorite to win this bid, and supposedly the number's going to come in around $4.5 billion, which would be the most that any professional team has ever been sold anywhere in the world. So
crazy. It's disappointing though that Magic and his group, because I know he was trying to buy the Broncos, but I guess they couldn't
raise enough. $4.5 billion, and he can write a check
today.
He can write a check.
He ain't got to
get financing and stuff. He can just write a check.
That's amazing.
Must be nice,
right?
Yeah. Speaking about getting checks, our boy Aaron Donald, after he said he might, decide to retire, he was fine.
Oh yeah, that was the cue for them to back up the truck.
They ripped up his contract. He had $52.5 million left on his contract for 3 years, so that ain't chopped liver. That's $17.5 million a year. Right. That wasn't good enough. Aaron Donald got a new 3-year, $95 million contract.
$65
million guaranteed in the first 2 years.
Lord.
Damn.
And if he decides to play the third year, the last $30 million is guaranteed so early on that if he wants to play, he's gonna make all $95 million. So he becomes the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Again,
amazing.
But I just don't understand why. And obviously I like Aaron Donald. I mean, I like everything about him, but I don't understand why he needed to go and say, well, I don't have to play anymore, and had this little like semi-press spat, with the Rams when he was going to get paid. Like, who is besides Stafford? I can't even believe I just said that. Who is the most important player on the Rams? Like,
Cooper Kupp.
Come on, man, stop.
And he get ready to get broke off.
He get ready to get some change too. But come on, man, Aaron Donald.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he's like the best defensive player, like defensive lineman within the last 15 to 20 years, except for like a 5 years period of JJ.
Wow.
Who's been better?
Mm-hmm.
That man's played 8 NFL seasons, been all pro all 8 years.
Yeah.
Man.
There's only been 2 other players that have done that and done it long. One was LT.
Lawrence Taylor.
And the other one was Derek Thomas, who died early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if he does it again next year, he'll tie Derek Thomas for 9. So it's crazy. Well deserved.
Well
like
deserved.
You said, Ed, he had to play the game, but he got it. So,
yeah, I guess.
Speaking of games, Lamar's been a no-show at all the Ravens OTAs. So,
well, he's trying to get that paper.
He needs an agent.
Do y'all think Lamar gonna show up next week? Because next week is the beginning of their mandatory minicamp, Wednesday, June 15th. Y'all think Lamar gonna show?
Nah.
Yeah, he want to get paid. Absolutely.
I think he's gonna show now. Like TJ Watt showed up for the entire camp last year for Pittsburgh
And didn't do anything.
and didn't do jack. He didn't play one snap, one jog, one weight lift, nothing.
Now I can see that happening. I can see him showing up and
then a day or two before the regular season, voila, he used to be the highest paid defensive player until a couple days ago. So yeah, so that's what I would do, because they changed the rules now where they fine you.
Yeah, and it's mandatory fines unless you get an excused absence before the date. Right. Speaking of mandatory fines, your boy DK Metcalf, who was in the last year of his contract with the Seahawks, he decided not to show up for the Seahawks mandatory. So he's being fined.
He don't want to be there.
I mean, he ain't got rust no more. Like,
right. He don't want to be there.
And he looking at them quarterbacks be like, oh, y'all going to have to pay me a whole lot of money to come take this punishment.
They got Drew Luck.
Hey, but a holdout did show up to camp by the name of Debo. So
yeah, and all he did was run up and down the sidelines.
He was present.
Yeah,
he was present.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this NBA Finals. Fellas,
Warriors.
In my opinion, the Warriors gave away game one.
Yep, sure did.
They did. Because it looked like night and day, game 1 and 2.
They hit the Celtics in the mouth in the third quarter, which that is their pattern. It was a 2-point game that they were trailing at the halftime. Then they blitzed them in the third quarter. Took a 12-point lead into the fourth quarter, and they said, "Oh, okay, they just gonna relax."
Hell no.
Al Horford had the freaking game of his life from outside. I mean, Al Horford hit 3 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. They hit nothing but net. They wasn't even close. And I mean, you get Al Horford, Marcus Smart, and Derek White going 15 for 22 shooting threes.
Anomaly.
Yeah,
that's an anomaly.
Definitely.
Yeah. Picture that.
Yeah.
So I think Golden State relaxed in the fourth. The Celtics got going, and then once the Celtics got going, they couldn't stop it.
But I think they got a problem though.
Because
Celtics got a problem though.
What's that?
They got a problem because I think Tatum is hurt, and I think
Williams is definitely
hurt. They got a problem.
Yeah,
I told
y'all about Williams going into the series. Williams was a problem, and then Marcus Smart fell into Williams' legs in game 2, which made it even worse. And Tatum is dealing with something's wrong with one of his shoulders.
Yeah,
he keeps favoring the shoulder and all that, and every time he gets hit. So so game 2. What y'all think about Draymond? Because Draymond sent the message early, often in the whole game.
I told y'all.
You better tone it down. You better tone it down, or else, because the refs are looking to do it's the finals, but don't show your ass. And
Draymond is the new Dennis Rodman.
That's his job. But that's his job, Sense.
Good. Draymond is the new Dennis Rodman.
It's your job to be the enforcer / antagonist. I get it. But still, don't you? It's like you toting that line, you doing just stuff blatantly, like that whole spat he got into with Jaylen Brown, when he was on the ground. That was uncalled for. You getting all into the ref's face, being all animated. That's uncalled for. Take it easy.
Draymond is a smart dude, and a lot of people don't give him credit for that. Draymond hollers and screams at the refs all season, so that when it gets to the playoffs. He's doing this all year, so they say that that's just him being Draymond, and they let him get away with it. Other players could not get away with it. He purposely does stuff. You're right. He put his foot on Jaylen Brown's head, but he did it gently. He didn't kick him, but he did rest it on his neck to aggravate him and get under him. And I mean, once Jaylen Brown stood up and stood over him, Draymond got to get up and react to that. He can't let him just stand over him.
Yeah, but Draymond ain't even the problem, man. Shoot. Steph, of course, got hot, but then Jordan Poole, that man was he could not miss.
Yeah, but it took Jordan Poole 6 quarters to find his shot. Because the Celtics were picking on him in game 1 in the first half of game 2. Matter of fact, you saw that he was like the 8th or 9th guy off the bench. They put in Otto Porter before they put in Jordan Poole because he's such a liability on the defensive end.
And Otto plays both ends.
And Otto
scores.
got up into him. And
Mhm.
even Steph Curry was getting up into people in game 2. Did y'all notice that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Steph wasn't backing down. So I think they just realized that these young Celtics, they thought that they could punch them in the mouth and then they would go away. They ain't going nowhere.
One slight move that I like that Steve Kerr did, like even when it was garbage time, he kept Clay in the game.
Mm-hmm. Need to, because Clay hurt.
Clay is rushing stuff, leaving stuff short. The Warriors missed 6 gimme layups in game 2. It could have been worse.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, right at the front of the rim, short arm and stuff.
Yeah, but I think we gotta cut Clay a little slack though. I mean, he's played a few games now before he's played a few games now as far as the season is concerned, the second half. But he missed 2 years, and
almost 3.
Okay, almost 3, and I don't even know if he's 100% like that knee is in his back of his head, or it's completely gone. I don't know, but he doesn't look like he used to look, like explosive, and he doesn't even look like as lean. So I just think that we got to give him some slack, man.
Well, first of all, do you think it's his confidence, or do you think it's just his ability to play again? Because he went to the G League so he could get prepared to get back up to the NBA.
Right. Yeah, but
he's a professional.
But he's a professional. The G League is a G League for a reason.
Right.
And this is the playoffs, and the Boston is good. They're good. But even if you can insert any team. It's the NBA Finals, and I just think that he's just I don't necessarily think he's really in shape yet.
I think his legs are all the way under him. They say when you come back from either Achilles or ACLs, it's not the first year back; it's the second year back that you actually get to 100%. And he'll never be 100% again, but get to back close to being yourself.
Right,
in shape. Yeah.
But I think I think he's just tired, and Boston is getting up in him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just got to figure that out.
What he need to do is start taking the ball to the rim and start shooting them damn J's.
Yeah, but when he was taking it to the rim, he was missing easy layups.
Exactly. You need to get back out there and practice.
So I just think he's tired. I think it's a little mental, but I also think it's physical. But I think he'll figure it out because Clay works too hard. Anybody that went through what he went through back to back and still made it back, he gonna figure it out. And his boy Steph is like, I ain't worried about Clay. I ain't got nothing to say to Clay. Clay will figure it out. That's what they call him Game 6K for a reason. So he be all right.
So I got a question for y'all though. What happened to Wiggins on Game 2?
Wiggins is the kind of offensive player that if you really need him, he'll try to show up, but he can just fall back into the background and just play defense. Wiggins was getting up into Jaylen Brown. Most of the game. And he knows my job is to slow one of these J's, Jalen or Jason, down a little bit. And score. If I score 12 to 18 points, I'm doing my job because my job focus is defense.
Right. His role differs on a game-to-game basis. Like if you need me to amp it up more offensively, then I'll do that. If you need me to amp it up more defensively, I'll do that. It just depends on what you need, in that game.
Yeah. All right. So Game 3 is tomorrow. Game 4 is Friday. Game 5 will be Monday.
We ain't gonna get no shout out to Looney.
Looney doing work when he in there.
He doing his
Yes,
thing.
sir.
He making money. He making money.
DP2 is bowling as well.
He always ready for that pass too.
When we back on the show next Tuesday, is the series over?
Nah. I see them going back to Golden State if it's at 2-2.
No, I don't.
I mean, it's Boston. You can't, again, like you just gave them their props, Ed.
Yeah, they should get props. You're right.
You can't count out Boston. And they sat the Garden. So Boston's known for being better on the road. But I see, like, it's the finals now. I think they can take, you know, they're going to take this more seriously with it being at home, and they're going to make sure that they take both at home. I mean, Golden State might get one. But
I hear what you're saying, Sense, but truth be told, if Golden State wouldn't have gave game 1 away, they'd have swept them. In my opinion, they would have swept them.
I mean, I still believe in the Jays. The two.
Yeah,
Jays.
I still think it's going to go 5. And because you guys are saying Tatum is hurt,
it's got to go 5. My question is, it's going to go 6.
Well,
is it going to go 6? Are we going to have a game past our next show?
Well, I said 5 at the beginning. I can't change it now.
Mm-hmm.
You can. You got no information.
No, I can't. No,
because
if Tatum is if Jason their lead dog is hurt,
he is,
and he had a horrible game 1. Don't forget.
Yep,
and a bad game 2.
Right. So if that pattern continues, Clay can have average games.
Check this out though. Daggone Smart. He didn't do well in the second game. Horford didn't do well in the second game. Robert White didn't do well in the second game. The only person that shot well for Boston was Jaylen Brown.
So
that's it.
So I rarely do this, and I hate to quote him, but you know, in the post-game commentary after game 2, Stephen A had said something that I actually kind of agree with. He was like, Boston probably said, "We got what we came for. We got that game 1, you know, on their home floor. So now we can take it back to Boston and do what we need to do." I still believe in Jason. Like I think Tatum's going to play through pain, and he's going because it's the finals. It's the big stage. He's going to ignore that pain. He's going to play through. He's going to, you know, ball out, leave it all out on the floor, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, I originally said Golden State in 6. Mm-hmm. Now I think it might go 7.
What?
I feel like Golden State. They split in Boston. I'm not sure which one. Golden State's gonna get one of these ones in Boston. Then I think each team will win at home, and that's where we'll leave it. So that's just me. I'm still rolling with the Warriors. For Boston to win, Boston's got to win this in 6. They can't play a game 7 in San Francisco and win it because Steph and Draymond won't let that happen.
That's why I think they got to take these 2 in Boston.
Yeah. All right, so Warriors. You still with the Warriors since?
I'm Celtics now. As Perk said, as Big Perk said, my opinions change with the facts.
Okay, so you Celtics in 6.
I'm Celtics in 7. I say Celtics in 7.
Wow, you think they would be able to go on the road and beat Golden State game 7? Okay, all right. So I hear you. I hear you.
Sense.
All right. Well, fellas, that's a good show. It is now time for us to get ready to get up out of here. First, let's get our final post out. J3, why don't you lead us off?
Yes, sir. I just want to give a shout out to all seniors that graduated this year. Congratulations. We're looking forward to your future and doing good things. Absolutely.
Since you up.
This is about to be about the Lakers, so cover your ears. I just want to give a shout out to new coach Darvin Ham, and actually the coaching changes that he's already made, adding Rasheed Wallace. That's going to bring that intensity. That's going to get up in. I think that's going to be better for AD and also keeping Phil handy. So I see some good things happening so far.
And shout out to your boy, the newest member of the
new billionaire, yes,
Mr. LeBron James. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Since you my man. Since is my man.
He's dedicated, boy. Dedicated to the Lakers.
He my man. We briefly touched on this earlier, but I'm gonna say hats off to a sport that we really don't talk a lot, but hats off to these golfers that have taken the matters into their own hand. I always like professionals, whether it was within sports, entertainment, or business, that take control of their own lives and destinies. Hats off to them for having the courage to say, hey, there's an alternative way to accomplish our goals, our family goals, our professional goals. So hats off to all the men out there. Good luck this weekend at the tournament, the LIV tournament.
And I'm going to use my final post to send out thoughts, prayers, and good wishes to one of our partners, Professor J, to you and the family. We're thinking about you. Hope that everything works out to the best it can. And please let us know if you need anything, you, the Mrs. family, at all. But know we here for you, thinking about you, and we just phone call away if you just need to talk, bro. So we here. All right, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. As always, we appreciate your time and opportunity to allow us to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. We're going to come at you 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 wide, but we're going to give you what we feel are the hottest topics in sports of the week. You can check us out on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, Positions on Sports Talk Show. Hit us on Twitter at Positions SPO1. We'd love to hear from you. Please, if you check out any of the social media sites, please like and also subscribe. Subscription's free. We greatly appreciate it. If you like the podcast format, check out any of your favorite podcast platforms. Again, put in Position on Sports Talk Show. We upload the shows. You can find us Apple, all of them. We're out there. Hey, don't forget we got the new gear out. If you're interested in getting some gear, shoot us a note. We gladly help you put in the order. And again, thank you for your time. Stay safe out there. Unfortunately, COVID's on the rise again, so please stay safe. Y'all have a good week. Be safe. We'll see you next Tuesday. Peace.
See ya.